So we know as we read these commandments every Sabbath day, just like they did, read it in the synagogue every Sabbath day, that these commandments are here from the beginning to the end. So I'm going to start this lesson called Witchcraft, which is a sub lesson from hold up, they gave me the wrong papers. Just a second. Which is a sub lesson from Doctrine of Manifestation. So I don't know if you all got a chance to listen to Doctrine of Manifestation, but you can go on the app and see it all. But it's done quite a few times in the here in the Israel of God. And what I saw was what happens when people go looking for these worldly or fleshly answers and they don't get what they're looking for, right? So when we started when I looked at Doctrine Manifestation, I saw that and I saw what it could turn to, right? Now, I actually had done this lesson first, but I did it differently, and I did it in such a way that it had if you know about Wall Street, the Gordon Gekko effect, or if you know about New Jack City, the Nino Brown effect. And what that effect is, that people see something bad and they decide they want to do it anyway, right? People looking at something that's done wrong and they say, ooh. So the way I did it then, I gave so much information that somebody could have taken it and ran, and Brother Bowie said, we can't put this out. But the reason that I am glad that I gave up that first turn, that gave me a chance to put this together, because it came up right here in Baltimore. So I want to start it out here in Baltimore. So we're going to cue up the first video with this witchcraft and all this stuff that's happening, and you're going to hear exactly some of the things that we're going to see right down in the Bible, that it is not new. It's been done by us. It has been done by us for the longest, but it's been done by all nations. And we're going to see that. You ready? Cue up the first video.
The African American women in Maryland and across the nation are leaving traditional church. Growing numbers of African American women in Maryland and across the nation are leaving traditional church worship. All of them are in search of something else, a spiritual belief that connects them to their ancestors and where they can feel more empowered to control their own well-being. They have found it in ancient forms of spiritual contact. Some call it witchcraft, a term they accept and embrace. For most of us, this is how we worship, a tradition that predates us all. This, too, is an ancient art of worshiping, not to God the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, but to spirits and deities that span the oceans and date back to pre-slavery days in Africa. Are you, in fact, witches?
Whatever the situation calls for. So if you come to me with pleasantries, you being respectful, you'll get Glinda, the good witch of the suburbs. But if you come at me with negativity and meanness and disrespect, then you'll get Eveline, your worst nightmare.
They have many names and titles and ranks within their belief system. They are college-educated professional women who've chosen to believe that theirs is a truer example of worship that is inclusive of the genders. It connects them, they say, to their ancestors and fills a need not found in traditional worship, though most of them grew up in the church.
I was raised Christian, all Christians in my family. In fact, my grandfather was a preacher in the South.
I also grew up Christian. I grew up Anglican in the Episcopal Church. The older I got, the more disconnect I felt.
I was raised Baptist. My father is a deacon, my mom a deaconess. I was in church all the time.
These women are part of a sect, Ile Ola Afefe Osa Meji, spiritual temple. They worship and offer prayers to Oshun, a predominant deity.
She's the deity or the Orisha of aesthetics, beauty, sex, sensuality.
There are growing numbers of African American women who have chosen for themselves a new life, leaving the church in search of more meaning in their lives. And yes, it can be called witchcraft. At a recent convention in Baltimore, more than 200 witches gathered, a sisterhood, but their spells are for good, not for evil. In this ritual, the women are preparing an offering to Oshun on behalf of a woman in California who's looking for a mate. The omelet-type dish is sweetened with honey, believed to be a favorite of Oshun. Prayers are said over the offering and for the woman in need. A portion is offered to Eshu, the male counterpart of Oshun, and placed in a secret place beneath the stairs of this Odenton home. Using shells, they ask the spirit if she is pleased. 4 shells are tossed to the floor, 2 land up, 2 land down. Balance. The gift is accepted.
She accepts it.
The traditions may seem odd to most, a mystery to some, complex and multi-layered. But these daughters of the moon, followers of Oshun, women, powerful, determined, and understanding, say there is nothing to fear. They are here, and they will be here for the foreseeable future. Yes, there are witches among us.
This is something that our ancestors did, and all we're doing is tapping back into it so that we can become our best selves, individually and collectively.
There's so much more to this story than our time will allow, so our conversation continues with these women, where they reveal much more to me. And if you want to watch the extended interview, head to our website, WJZ.com, to watch Behind the Lens. And for even more information, there is a link to the Daughters of the Moon, also at WJZ.com.
That's what she said, right? She said, this is the religion of our ancestors. She's not lying. Right? And you have people out there that call them Yoruba priestess, right? One of them is the lady who fixes your life, right? She claims to be one of these. So we're going to dig into all of this. Go right to the next video. We're going to do 2 minutes and 36 seconds of this video because I just want to set the stage so you'll know everything I'm talking about.
I honestly believe Jesus was one of the most toxic relationships I've ever had in the entirety of my life.
You shouldn't keep your magic in the dark. Like, this is your soul. You need to share it to the world.
Let it rain on me now. So be it. So it is.
I was a super Christian. I was raised in the church. I was a worship leader. I'm like singing all over the place and touring over here and crying out to God. How many times have I prayed to Jesus to show up for things that were actually needed and he didn't show up?
Melissa Whetstone grew up as a preacher's kid, but 12 years ago, she left the church. She says the community felt toxic and she didn't feel a personal connection to Jesus.
Hi, how are you? I need the frankincense and myrrh I see is here.
She eventually discovered Lukumi, a religion that was brought to Cuba by enslaved West Africans.
It's just a beautiful thing to be a part of. It's a beautiful community spirit. You're learning and growing with other people, so I really love it.
Black folks have left the church in higher numbers over the last decade than ever before, and younger generations are even less likely to affiliate with the church. But many young people are still seeking spirituality, and some are reviving traditions from Africa and the Caribbean through practices that connect them with their ancestors.
This is my boveda, or my altar. A few glasses of water, and that's just for my specific ancestors who watch and look over me. I have liquor that my uncle likes, gotta make sure he still get lit on the other side. I feed them, I talk to them, I spend time with them. Like, this is my place to be.
So can you talk about some of the differences in what you study now to what your relationship was with Christianity then? What are you getting out of Lukumi that
I
you
get
didn't
answers
find
to
in
my
the Christian
prayers.
church?
That I tell people that all the time. Like, when they're like, what's the difference? I'm like, because my prayers are answered. Like, that's one. When I come to my altar and I pray to my ancestors and I actually take my time to cry out, not only do I get responses, I get physical manifestations and answers.
You were born in
over the past decade, while white millennials have embraced witchcraft in droves. Now, a parallel phenomenon is emerging among black millennials. While their exact numbers are difficult to gauge, it is clear that African American pop culture has started to reflect the trend. In the music industry alone, there's Beyonce's allusion to an African goddess in Lemonade and at the Grammys. Azalea Banks' declaration that she practices brujeria, a Spanish term for witchcraft, and Princess Nokia's hit Brujas, in which she tells white witches, everything you got from us. African American witchcraft originated in West Africa, the birthplace of Yoruba, a set of religious traditions focused on reverence.
The birthplace of what?
Religious traditions.
The birthplace of Yoruba.
Of Yoruba.
Keep going.
A set of religious traditions focused on reverence for ancestors and worship of a vast pantheon of deities known as Orishas. Those traditions accompanied West Africans who were brought to the Americas as slaves and were eventually combined with Western religions such as Catholicism that many slaves were pushed to embrace.
So now you see why she still had a cross right there, right? It's all, that stuff was all paganism, and it's all put together, but this lesson is set up so you can spot it because it's everywhere, but it's particularly here, right? So, and if you know anything about this, like we've seen where our grandparents or whatever, they would have, you saw what they were doing. They were praying for some lady in California so she can get a mate, right? So they practice what you call hoodoo. Hoodoo is different between voodoo and voodoo. Hoodoo is not a religion, it's a practice. That means you could be any religion and still do this practice, where they do root work and all that, but they do that exact thing where they try to pray to get this material stuff, or even what they might call spiritual stuff. I want peace in my life and all this, right? We praying that you get peace. We're going to go and go to the ancestors and have them bring you peace or your job or this, that, and the other, right? So let's get right down to it and get right down to the meaning and see how the Lord looked at this. I want you to go, we're going to start at Matthew 24 and 24. And we're just going to, first we're going to pick up how does this come about? Like how to even recognize it, right? Because the Lord just keeps warning Israel against this. Matthew 24 and 24. And they use all those things, like in Voodoo, they use those. Notice she had all those crystals and all this stuff. That's the way the spirit flows, or the Iwa and all that. That's what they use. That's why they had these crystals. I'm going to give you this crystal. It's going to give you some peace. This stuff has been done long before, and the Lord already pinpointed it so you would not do it, right? So let's keep going. Let's go to Matthew 24 and 24. You ready?
Yep.
Go ahead.
For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
And that's what's happening here. So you know that this is talking end time, but we know, as you see how easy it's coming about, where they start out with something real small, but this ain't nothing but stuff that can deceive the very elect. But we know that this is talking about the man of sin, but what Jesus still just warning you about, just so you can be aware that false people going to come up and you can be deceived by them. This is particularly talking about the man of sin, but also just as a fair warning, you should be ready because you can get deceived. Let's go to Matthew 16 and 21 and show you a prime case how easy they come up on you. Matthew 16 and 21. Ready? We're going to read 21 through 26. Ready? Go ahead.
From that time forth began Jesus to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee.
So Jesus telling them all the things that the Lord said was going to happen to him. But Peter took him and rebuked him and said, this can't happen to you, Lord. This sounds like a good thing, don't it? Sounds like Glenda the Good Witch, don't it? Let's see what's going on. Go ahead.
But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan.
Get thee behind me, who?
Satan.
Say, where did you hear Satan? I didn't hear him. What? Keep going. Go ahead.
Thou art an offense unto me.
Uh-huh.
For thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men.
Satan favors those things that be of who?
Of men.
Men. Satan is the ultimate salesman. He's not worried about the stuff that be about him. He worries about what be about you.
That's right.
What are you focused on? That's exactly what I'm going to bring to you. So he saw what Peter was focused on. He brought it to him. He don't want Jesus to die. But Jesus dying is what's going to save the whole world.
That's right.
Oh, no, not you, Lord. Hopefully Jesus say, you know what? Maybe that shouldn't be me. Right? Keep going. Go ahead.
Then Jesus said unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me.
Keep going. Where are we? Oh, no,
25.
we're going to 26. Go ahead.
For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
And that's the key to this whole lesson. Remember, the reason they're going through this stuff is because they want answers for themselves. But you got to be willing to lose your life. You got to be willing to put what you want down and be about what God wants. And that's the message. That's the message to get you around the whole thing. But what sucks you in is that Satan is about you. And he going to keep on stirring up that man stuff, and you going to keep going forward. And he knows that because he's been watching man for thousands of years. Keep going.
For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his soul?
Mm-hmm.
Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?
So what shall you give in exchange for your life?
That's right.
What you going to give for it? You willing to give up anything for this thing? Because that's exactly what you're going to be doing. But let's keep going. Let's show you how they come to you. Because you didn't hear Satan, did you? Let's show you how familiar spirit works. Let's go to Isaiah 29. We're going to read 1, then 4. We're going to read 1, then 4. Isaiah 29. One. Then we're going to read verse 4, right? Isaiah 29. We're going to listen and hear how do familiar spirits sound when they come to you, right? Are they hard? Are they yelling at you and sweating in your face like me? Right? Maybe sometimes, or are they smooth? Let's see. Let's go 29. We're going to go to verse 1. Go ahead.
Woe to Ariel.
Mm-hmm.
To Ariel, the city where David dwelt.
Mm-hmm.
Add ye year to year, let them kill sacrifice.
So he's talking to Israel. So he's talking to the people that's supposed to know, right?
That's right.
So woe to Israel. And he said, what city? That's Jerusalem, right?
That's right.
Skip down to verse 4. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be brought down, and shall speak out of the ground, and thy speech shall be low out of the dust.
Uh-huh.
And thy voice shall be as of one that hath a familiar spirit.
Uh-huh.
Out of the ground, and thy speech shall whisper out of the dust.
So how does a familiar spirit come? Did you hear Satan? They smooth. Hey, you mind if I have your psychic reading for you today? Right? They never come to you like that. They approached me one time. I didn't know she was so smooth and low. I didn't know what she said. What you say? I'm like, no, But that's how smooth that they approach. You gotta be ready for it, because it's not gonna be all what they show you as, oh, this is so satanic, right? All the satanic stuff is real smooth, like Santa Claus, like Christendom. You notice what they were talking about, that they didn't get any answers from the Lord, was Christendom. Modern day, what we call modern day Christianity. They wasn't getting nothing from them because you didn't bother to search the scriptures, right? Thank you. You didn't bother to search the scriptures. So now let's dig into this and let's see how the Lord said, handle them no matter who they are. Doesn't matter how close they are to you. This is what the Lord wanted done. Now, I don't want you going down the streets and doing nothing. But we're going to read about what he said when it was in the land, okay? Let's go to Deuteronomy 13. And you all have to excuse me because I preach a sweat. I don't know why. It just pours down. But Deuteronomy 13. Deuteronomy 13. We're going to read 1 through 10. Deuteronomy 13. Ready? And let's see what the Lord says. about it. Ready? Go ahead.
If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them.
So wait a minute. Did the sign or wonder fail?
No, it came to pass.
It came to pass, didn't it?
That's right.
So they came to you and prophesied into your life, right? Because it comes in all forms. It don't always have to be straight up witchcraft. It could be Christendom too. They prophesied into your life, and it came to pass. And then what did they say? Let us go hearken after other gods and serve them. Verse 3, go ahead.
Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God proveth you, to know whether ye love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul.
Oh, so the Lord is checking you out to see if you actually love him or not, because it said, hey, thou shalt not hearken to that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, because I had a dream about you this morning. And what's done happen, and you going to have this, and you're going to have all the manifestations of your life, right?
That's right.
But he said, you shall not hearken to that prophet or that dreamer of dream, because the Lord is proving you. He's checking to see if you going to listen to him or you going to go after the stuff. Right? Keep going.
And you shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cleave unto him.
And that's exactly what they stopped doing, didn't it? They basically said, well, at least the one that they knew of, hey, we're not going to cleave unto him. You gave up the whole name of Jesus, didn't you?
That's what
right?
they did.
Keep going.
And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death.
Shall be what?
Shall be put to death.
Shall be what?
Shall be put to
Shall
death.
be put to death. That's what the Lord wanted done. Now, I don't want none of y'all going doing nothing to nobody, right? That is not your place. This was in this land, right?
That's right.
But according to the Lord, that's how he looking at them. And as long as they live in there's hope. Hopefully they hear this message and change, right? Yep. So go ahead. So they should be put to death, and go ahead.
Because he hath spoken to turn you away from the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which the Lord thy God commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee.
So he's telling you that even though they gave you something that came to pass, what did the Lord call it? Evil. He said, put that evil away from among you. So when you thought you was just walking in and you just get, because a lot of times they get people like that, and young sisters a lot of times too, where, oh, I'm just getting grounded and close to the earth, right? Mother Earth and doing all this, right? And you thinking it's something innocent. But he said, put that evil away from you, right? Keep going.
Right. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter,
or your son, not your baby. He said the brother, the son of your mother, or your son or daughter. What you supposed to do? Go ahead.
Or the wife of thy bosom.
Or the wife of your bosom. Go ahead.
Or thy friend, which is as thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers.
So you got your homeboy that's like your own soul, right?
That's
this
right.
My man to the end, man. This my girl. We've been girls since high school. He said, what if they do what? Verse 7.
Namely, of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him. Neither shalt thine eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him.
So you can't even hide it. You got to be the first to blow the whistle. So that's the end of not snitching, ain't it?
That's right.
Right?
It's
he
over.
said you can't even conceal it. You got to tell everybody, hey, this guy is serving pagan gods. Hey, and this is your boy from your own soul, or this is your son. You out there serving pagan gods. Hey, y'all, my son serving pagan gods over here. Right?
That's right.
He say you cannot conceal him. Keep going.
But thou shalt surely kill him.
Oh, right. Now, I'm not saying you go do this, but I'm just showing you how the Lord looked at it. He was not playing about it because you putting another God before him, right? Go ahead.
Thine hand shall be first upon him to put him to death.
Go ahead.
And afterwards the hand of all the people.
So you the first one, you throwing a death blow. And then everybody else. And this is the person that was closest to you. So there's no friends when it comes to this thing. Nobody trumps the Lord. Not your friend, not your bestie, not your BFF, or whatever you call them these days with all the emojis. Can't none of them trump the Lord. Keep going.
And thou shalt stone him with stones that he die, because he hath sought to thrust thee away from the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
He sought to thrust you away from the Lord. What kind of friend is that? That's what you got to be thinking about. What kind of friend is that he sought to thrust you away from the Lord? Let's look at how the Lord told Israel to handle this. Ready? Let's look at Isaiah 65. And then we're going to go through some of the things, the rituals and stuff that they do. But let's look at Isaiah 65. So if they coming to you with some Egyptology, because, yeah, they big in it too, right? How do you know? Who was the first ones doing all the magic, right? The first one we come across doing magic was Egypt. So the Egyptology, they worship the sun god Ra. You know what they say? I can't do much powers when during the wintertime because they ain't got a lot of sun, right? But when they sun god like the summertime, they out here, they can work. If they come to you with that, come on to Egyptology. You ain't been getting answers. Look at you, man. You're not even a XYZ. You should have been CEO right now. You smart. Let's go get this and get you this CEO job. He said, don't follow him. Put him to death. Now, don't do that. Because I know you. You might want to.
Praise the Lord.
But let's go to Isaiah 65, and we're going to start at verse 1. Isaiah 65 and verse 1. You ready?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name.
Because the Lord went out there looking for the people who wanted to serve him, right?
That's
now,
right.
What else? Verse 2, what did he say?
I have spread out my hands all day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face.
So who is this rebellious people he's talking about? It's Israel, right? Yeah. He said, I spread my hands all day to this rebellious people, and they provoking me to anger continually right in my face. Right in front of me, right? And what are they doing?
That sacrifice and garden and burn incense upon altars of brick.
Oh, they burning incense, same old stuff. Yeah, it's the religion of your ancestors, the ones that was doing this. Yeah, your ancestors were doing it. They were doing it right here. The Lord just told you what they were doing. They were provoking him to anger continually to his face. Yeah, that's who you following. Go ahead.
Which remain among the graves, and lodge in the monument, which eat swine's flesh, and the broth of abominable things is in their vessels.
So he said they remain among the graves. You know what hoodoo is? They'll go out among the graves. They call it necromancy in the Bible. But they go out among the graves and do all this other stuff. We're not going to get into the details. But that's what they're doing. He said they remain among the graves, right? But a lot of times mentally too. When you serving this falsehood, you among the graves. Like Brother Boy used to say all the time, your pastor is an undertaker. Because he among the graves. This is nothing but, this whole thing is just deadness. From Christendom all the way to witchcraft, it's just dead. It's just graves. Go ahead.
Which say, stand by thyself. Come not near to me, for I am holier than thou.
Oh, so see, Christendom, they tell you they holier than you. In the witchcraft, you know what they say? You got the wrong energy. It's the same statement. Stand over there. I felt the energy just came in all wrong.
That's right.
Everybody feeling energy now. Where did this come from? All the physics I've studied that I was forced to take, I've never felt this much energy. You got Brother Andre over here works with all kind of aerodynamics and stuff. Why he ain't never said, man, I just felt all this energy. Where's the equations for this energy? Right? I've never seen it. But that's what they tell you. Oh, you coming with the wrong energy. See the Iwa and the spirit and all this stuff, right? Stand by yourself, right? So he say, stand by thyself. Come not near to me. Go ahead.
For I am holier than thou.
I'm holier than you. I got the aura on me, right? Go ahead.
These are a smoke in my nose,
Uh-huh.
a fire that burneth all the day.
You see what the Lord said about them? They're smoking my nose. I don't know if you all ever been around somebody, if you don't smoke and they smoke, woo. Or like me, I barbecue, right? So I do it with wood only. And so when I light it, I got to go in the house. Because when that stuff flare up, oh my goodness, you can't have, that's how the Lord said he thinks about them. He got to get away from them. They are an irritation. They're smoking his nose. You ready? Let's keep going. Let's look right here. The next. Did we
got
finish
one
that?
more verse.
One more verse. Go ahead.
Behold, it is written before me.
Uh-huh.
I will not keep silent.
Go ahead.
But will recompense, even recompense unto their bosom.
So the Lord letting you know he is not going to keep silent about it. This message is for you. This is a message of love that he is going to recompense you if you don't change. If you continue trying to fix people's life by putting this in it, he is going to recompense you. Right? Because that's what they said. This person who's this Yoruba priestess going to fix your life. But she's fixing your life with witchcraft. Let's read about this next thing that they say do. You see that definition right there?
Yep.
Right here. This is another thing that I've seen people in the Word do this stuff. And Lord knows, I think they've changed. I hope so. Because this is one of those things that's just so simple. Everybody thinks it's just such a cool thing to do, right? Go ahead, read the definition.
Definition, smudging. Smudging is traditionally a ceremony for purifying or cleansing the soul of negative thoughts of a person or place. There are 4 elements involved in a smudge. The container, traditionally a shell representing water, is the first element. The 4 sacred plants, cedar, sage, sweetgrass, tobacco, gifts from Mother Earth, represent the second element. The fire produced from lighting the sacred plants represents the third element. The smoke produced from the fire represents air, the fourth element.
Oh, so you see, just like they say, what the energy, right? And they burning incense on altars of brick. This is the same thing. Now they call it smudging. And so people say, oh, we got to cleanse the aura of the house and water from evil spirits. We go smudge. Now, did we ever read anywhere in this book where it said some sage can stop an evil spirit?
Nope, not in there.
Because why wouldn't they just, hey, man, I'm just going to load up on some sage, right? And I'm going to make it, right? You know, why Saul just didn't get no sage? Why Job didn't get no sage? Why nobody ever recommended to Job, man, you know, this can all stop. You just get you some sage. What happened? Right? So let's keep going. Let's go to Deuteronomy 18. But everybody's smudging now to cleanse the aura, right? To cleanse the energy, right? Let's cleanse the soul of negative thoughts or personal place. So everybody, when somebody was coming to kill them or something, they should have just saged. That should have stopped it all. But it's all just paganism. It's all made up. It's all something that the God of Israel told Israel, stay away from. We're going to see it. Deuteronomy 18. We're going to start at verse 9. Deuteronomy 18 and verse 9. Ready?
Yep.
Go ahead.
When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations.
Oh, because guess who was saging and smudging before you? All those nations in the land of Ham that you went, the land of Canaan. They was already doing that. So he said, I don't want y'all going in here picking up their old traits. This is what got them out of here. Keep going.
There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch.
Or a witch, right? He said, I don't want you dealing with none of this because it's all paganism to the Lord. Whether you are observer of times, so you read the tarot cards and all that, or you use divination, you divine for people, or you an enchanter, or you a witch. You could cast a spell on. Remember she said she was Glinda of the suburbs, And then she turned to Eveline. So you more afraid of her than you are of God. But the Lord told you, hey, I don't want none of this to be found among you. Keep going.
Or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer.
Oh, necromancer. Oh, remember they said they pray to the what? The ancestors, right? They go to the graves. That's a necromancer. They deal with the dead, right? So he's telling you, I don't want you to deal with none of this. So again, they are correct that this is the religion of our ancestors. Because the Lord is telling Israel, you know what? You had these Canaanites that's dealing with this. I don't want you dealing with it, Israel. And Israel went and picked it up. And we started doing it. Now we're saying it's our ancestors. No, it was from Canaan.
That's right.
Didn't have nothing to do with Israel. But since y'all picked it up, y'all took this as what to do as opposed to taking this book as what to do. Keep going.
For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord thy God doth drive them out from before thee.
So this is why they got kicked out. So he kicked those nations out for doing this same thing, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God. For these nations, which thou shalt possess, hearkened unto observers of times, and unto diviners. But as for thee, the Lord thy God hath not suffered thee to do so.
So for you, Israel, I'm not suffering you to do so. Hey, they did that. I don't want this for you. Right?
That's right.
So this is the same. So now you see how history is just repeating itself. Look, the face is barely changing, right? Because I'm sure we look like some of them that was in the past, right? But the deeds are the same. We are now picking this same stuff back up. We picking up these same things. And we looking at it saying, well, yeah, that's them out there. That ain't really happening to me. I'm not getting involved in it. Well, let's see, right? Let's go to Leviticus 20. Let's go to Leviticus 20. Because you're getting involved, but you just got to be aware how you might be participating. We're going to read 1 through 7, then skip to 27. Ready?
Yep.
So you got to see, why did the Lord even have to warn Israel about this? You would think to yourself, who would actually do this? Keep going. If you think about this stuff that they're about to, what we're about to show you right now, because it's real ugly, you're going to think, who would actually do this, right? But they're doing it. Leviticus 20, 1 through 7. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Again thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, Whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the stranger that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones.
So if I find out any one of you, that's what he said, is giving his seed unto Molech, the people gonna stone him. Let's see what it's like to give your seed unto Molech. Go ahead.
And I will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he hath given his seed to Molech, to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name.
Keep going.
And if the people of the land do any ways hide their eyes from the man, which he giveth to when he giveth his seed unto Molech, and kill him not.
So again, he's now putting it on the onus of the people too, right? So
right.
The onus is on all you. When you watch it, he is letting you know you can't conceal stuff. So that ends that snitching thing, or you can't say nothing. When you see wrong, you better put your finger on it. Not that everybody just go, I'm telling you, no, not that. But I'm talking about when you see in this grave wrongness, you gotta say something, whether it's your friend or not. Because he's saying, hey, you see your friend giving his son over to Molech, and you not saying nothing, right?
That's right.
Keep going, go ahead.
Then I will set my face against that man and against his family.
So he gonna set the face against that man and his family. Go ahead.
And will cut him off, and all that go a whoring after him, to commit whoredom with Molech from among their people.
So he's saying anybody that go a whoring after him, that commit this whoredom with Molech from among their people. Keep going.
And the soul that turned after such as have familiar spirits, and after wizards, to go a whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul and will cut him off from among his people.
Go ahead.
Sanctify yourselves, therefore, and be ye holy, for I am the Lord your God.
So he keeps telling the people, sanctify yourselves, set your nation apart from all this other stuff, and be holy because I am holy, right?
That's right.
Let's go to 27. Go ahead.
A man also, or woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones, their blood shall be upon them.
So now what I'm doing right now is setting up, remember Molech and how you can give your seed to him. We're going to show you how it's done later. But remember what the Lord said about it, right? Now let me show you something in common practice in this world today and what they call voodoo, blood, magic, or voodoo, or whatever. Let's see some of the stuff they do. Ready? Read this. This is from the JAMA Network, and it was November 23, 1964, about voodoo or black magic. Go ahead.
Voodoo, black magic, and the Hawaiian kahuna primitive people in various parts of the world, when subjected to sorcery or black magic, may become seriously ill or die. Voodoo, also known as Vodun, has been reported among Negroes in Africa and Haiti and among the Aborigines of Australia. In 1964, educated and civilized persons find it difficult to believe that areas still exist where sorcery is practiced.
So they found that this sorcery is still practiced today, right? Let's keep going. We got another book here called Blood Magic by a lady named Seedlack, and you can start right there where it says blood, right? So I'm going to set this up. We're going to go right back to the book and show it right to you. Go ahead.
Blood use is equivalent to every facet of witchcraft because of its tremendous power. Blood sustains us all. Without blood, survival would never be conceivable. Apart from providing us life through nourishment, blood connects people from a spiritual and sacred means. It draws on the donor's nature and personality, acting as a mystical fount for the magic that follows, preparing it and giving it purpose.
So you see that? They look at this blood. You know how the Lord said the life is in the blood, right? And so it gives us this spiritual power to use it. Keep going.
That's what makes it such a potent factor. Blood magic, also recognized as blood sorcery, is an ancient and severe kind of magic. This mystical but forbidden magic is used to cast spells and charms.
Also, they use it to do this witchcraft. They use blood for it, right?
That's right.
And every time you use blood, you don't necessarily mean you got to die. But that's where you get all these people talking about blood oaths and all this stuff. All this stuff that you see people doing on your regular basis, because I know some people be in certain clubs and groups, this is all where it comes from, right? Keep going.
Curses created with blood, the very bodily fluid, which is the essential strength and the essence of life in the working of magic, are potent. It may be a representation of a sacrifice. Still, it may also be the loss of life that sustains the spell.
You what?
That sustains the spell.
So it's a loss of life sometimes that sustains the spell. Didn't the Lord just tell them, I don't want you giving your seed to Molech? You're going to see what that looks like, and we're going to see who did it. Keep going.
Blood magic is also generally practiced in blood rituals. Some blood may be...
I'm sorry, did it mess up?
No. Some blood may be to be more potent than others. Common types are human blood, the caster's own blood, the blood of royalty, an extraordinary family lineage, a youth's blood, or a virgin's blood. Sometimes simply a particular individual's blood has power, and any other blood is ineffective.
Okay, so you notice it said royalty, right?
That's right.
Royalty of certain other persons. Now let's look at this. We got it right here. Let's go to 2 Kings 21. I wanted to read all that so you could have the setup, and now you'll know what the Lord was talking. Let's go to 2 Kings 21. Because you got to think, why would a person do this? 2 Kings 21. And we're going to show you they got involved then, and you're getting involved today. 2 Kings 21. We're going to read just 1 through 6. Ready?
Yep.
2 Kings 21, 1 through 6. Go ahead.
Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hephzibah.
So this Manasseh is a what? If you reigning, you're what? You're a king,
king.
right? So remember we said royal? So
right.
Manasseh is a king. Go ahead.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, after the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel.
So remember that nation that he cast out and all the stuff he told them about the being a witch or enchanter or observer of times. He said, all these things the nation did before you. So what did Manasseh do? It just said he did of the abomination of the heathen whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. So he picked up all that the Lord told them to put down. Right? So once he picked it up, as the king in Israel picked it up, that's why these ladies are saying today, this is the religion of our ancestors. Because they picked up all these Canaanite religions. But go ahead.
For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed. And he reared up altars for Baal, and made a grove, as did Ahab king of Israel, and worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served them.
All the hosts of heaven. Remember, they worship the sun, like Egyptology and all this. They worshiping all the hosts of heaven. So when these people come to you, because I know you see Egyptologists, you can't walk without running across some of these guys, right?
That's right.
And they come to you and talking black this and black that, right? But they all backing up. They're going to always back you up right here to this. Go ahead.
And he built altars in the house of the Lord, of which the Lord said, in Jerusalem will I put my name. And he built altars for all the hosts of heaven in the two courts of the house of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And he made his sons pass through the fire.
He did what?
Made his sons pass through the fire.
He's a king. Didn't they need that royal blood? He made his son pass through the fire. Remember he said, anybody let his seed pass through the fire, Molech? This guy, the king of Israel, decided to have his own son pass through the fire. Why would you do something like that? Well, when things are going bad and you need a spell to help you, you be willing to do some of anything. That's why people in these countries still doing it. And believe me, if they didn't outlaw it here, some people still doing it. And some of us are still doing it. Why do you think our young brothers dying in the streets like they are? Because sometimes parents, they benefiting from what these guys are doing. And guess what you do? You just let your seed go right on out there to Molech. And you let them die out there so you can benefit. You be surprised what you do when you ain't really thinking about. This is the same thing that Manasseh did. Keep going.
And he made his son pass through the fire, and observed times, and used enchantments, and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. He wrought much wickedness in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger.
To provoke him to anger. It's the same people that the Lord said was a smoke in his nose.
That's right.
The same stuff. It's nothing different. I'm just trying to make you aware of it so you, when it comes across you, you will have the scriptures to back it up. So you will know what's going on because it's going to come across you, just like manifestation came across you. When you watch that, everywhere I taught, you know somebody will come up and say, man, I was just doing that. And you be surprised what you're doing out here. Let's keep going. Let's look at it again. Because, see, now we're going to deal with something, how you deal, we know, when they deal with hoodoo. Remember how in the video she said we talking to the ancestors so we can help this woman get her a man, a mate, right?
That's what they
Or
say.
they go out to the graves, be with necromancers. They call those conjure people or conjure men or conjure women. Let's look at it. Let's go to 1 Samuel 28. It's all here. It's all here. They were right about that one thing. That, yeah, your ancestors did do it. And we about to watch them do it right now. 1 Samuel 28 and 1. 1 Samuel 28 and 1. Ready? Go ahead.
And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men.
So the point of me reading 1 is to let you know Philistines are about to fight with Israel. People